What is the best way to connect your PlayStation 1 console to a modern television? And as a bonus, what is also an acceptable way to connect your PlayStation 2 to a modern TV? Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. As you guys already heard, we are going to review one of the best ways to connect your PlayStation 1 original console to a modern television. So I'm going to start out by telling you guys that I have a few products here that we're going to go over. I've also bought, purchased, and tested a number of other devices or a number of other connectors, and they all failed miserably. So what you are seeing now is the best solution that I could find. I'm going to show it to you. You're going to see it in action. We'll do a quick side-by-side comparison so you can understand what exactly you're looking at. And we're just gonna compare them that way. I'm gonna give you my ultimate recommendation for PlayStation 1, but it will also work on PlayStation 2. I can show that working, maybe depending on how time goes. But let's start out by framing kind of what the problem is here. You see, the PlayStation 1 came back a long time ago. And if we flip it around here, you will notice that on the back of the console, there is no HDMI output. So most of these would have used the AV multi-port, which gives you a number of old connection styles. So most notably, you would have just a regular yellow RCA cord that has very low resolution. There was also an S-video output, which I actually, way back in the day, I upgraded to that, and I couldn't believe how much more crisp and clear the video signal was with the S-video. But there was one final output connection, which is RGB. Before we get too far into this video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below. If you've seen some of our content already and have not subscribed, we want you to join our community. Smash that like button, hit subscribe, and let's get back to the video. Most of you know RGB to mean what you see in the back of that computer back there, just blinking away and shining away, but it also meant that you had a component output signal, which broke up the signal into multiple different connectors, which allowed you to have the crispest and the cleanest output signal. Now, many of the adapters that you've seen on Amazon or the ones that you're going to see here will use one of those signals and then boost it to be an HDMI output. We're going to talk about kind of what's most important there, but we are looking for the best video experience that you can have while you are using your PlayStation 1 retro console. This is the original. This is not the remake. This is not the classic. These did not have the HDMI output. The PlayStation 2 also had the same multi-AV port in the back as the PlayStation 1, and that is why the device that we're going to settle on today also will work on your PlayStation 2. So, without further ado, let's look at what the contenders are here. First off, we're gonna have this guy here. This is the PS2 to HDMI. This is the adapter that I've used with this PlayStation 2 for quite a few years now. It is like $10. It is very cheap. It gives you an HDMI output and a separate headphone out so you can listen to audio on your headphones without having to play it through the TV. You do not need that. This does not work with your PlayStation 1 because the signal that it's looking for is the YPBPR component output signal, which the PlayStation 1 does not support. So if you have one of these on your PlayStation 2, it will not work on your PlayStation 1. Also, interestingly enough, I had a heck of a time getting this to work on my PlayStation 2 with PlayStation 1 games, and I think that's because of the way that the PlayStation 2 handles PlayStation 1. They basically took a PlayStation 1 and shoved it inside a PlayStation 2 and added a PlayStation 2 on top of that. So when you're in PlayStation 1 mode on the PS2, the games will not output over HDMI using this device. I spent hours trying to get this working on my PlayStation 2 a couple years ago. It did not work, and I never could figure out why. And now that I have the PlayStation 1, I understand why, and that's because this is not supported on PlayStation 1 games. So if you have it for your PS2, that's fine, but if you are going to use PS1 games on your PS2, it won't work. The next device that we used here is the BitFunx, or the BitFun X. Now the nice thing about this is it does support PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2. And if we open it up here, I've already opened it, I've already tried it before, I've already told you guys not to buy it in a different video, but if you happen to have one, then you can have a look at it. The nice thing about this is there's a switch right here. You can see this little switch. I can flip it that way, or I can flip it that way. And if I look on here, you guys won't be able to see it, but right there, there's some writing that says YPBPR or RGB. That is an RGB selector switch. This allows me to switch between RGB and the other component connection. So it will work on your PlayStation 2 with PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 games right out of the box. Now, to avoid having to switch back and forth, there's some settings that you'll want to set up on your PlayStation 2 to use this, but even this is not the device that I'm going to recommend to you today for one very major important reason. And that is that this is strictly a like-for-like pass-through cable. What I mean by that is when I plug this in, it will take the RGB signal off of your PS1 game and it will pump it out to an HD signal through your HDMI cord, but it does not upsample. It doesn't scanline double, it doesn't do anything. The PlayStation 1 only supports output resolutions of progressive 256 by 224 all the way up to 640 by 240 pixels, or interlaced of 256 by 448 to 640 by 480 pixels. Now, I'm not going to get into what progressive and interlaced means, but just know when we talk about modern resolutions like 1080p, the P stands for progressive. If it was 1080i, it would be 1080 interlaced. And those are different signals, but just know that we're talking about the max resolution of 240p or 240i. Now, that's probably not a big deal, except I want to hook it up to that monitor back there. Now, if I look up the specs of that monitor, I will bet you money that that monitor does not support a 240p or a 240i signal. And that was extremely apparent when I went to play Gran Turismo 2. And I'm going to show you what I saw so that you can see exactly what I was seeing so you can understand this. But just know that was a lot of words to say. If you know you're using PlayStation 1 games, this is not the adapter you're looking for. If you want to use it on your PlayStation 2, it works great. It's actually a really, really good adapter for your PlayStation 2. But if you're planning on playing PlayStation 1 games on your PS2, which is what I originally was planning to do, this adapter is not the adapter you're looking for. So I'm going to put that back in here. Put it right there. And I'm going to settle on this. Now, this is the least interesting box that you've ever seen. This is the Level Hike HD cable for PS2, PS1. I'm going to do a quick unboxing, and then I'm going to tell you about the features of this cable. So the unboxing is actually going to be quite simple because everything's like in a plastic bag. So the box is now empty. Put that back over there. We've got a really good setup card, and actually I say really good kind of tongue-in-cheek, but it actually has all the information you need on here. It says that the Level Hike HD link cable is plug and play solution. Some settings in the PS2 may need to be adjusted, and the cool thing is there's a colored picture on the back that says if you plug this in and your screen is green looking, just like that, then you need to go into your settings and change this setting. So it's very easy to do. It walks you right through it. There's also a 1-year warranty card, which I have no idea what that does. And then there's a couple bags. So we've got the device right here. This has the same end as the other ones. It plugs into the AV port and it gives you an HDMI output. It also, somewhere on here, right there, it has a micro USB power cord because this does require power to do what it's doing. But what I do like is the back, there's a grill here with some air holes to allow it to actually breathe, which the other ones can suffer from heat issues. Also, it has a sticker on there even that says, if you have trouble, follow the guide to switch your signal to the right signal. There's also a little switch here, which is a 4:3 and a 16:9 switch, so that'll switch it between widescreen and square screen. Now I'm going to use it in the square screen format because that is what the original PlayStation 1 format was. It didn't really support widescreen games because back then we had square TVs. Inside this bag is a rather long micro USB cord, which we would use to power it. And then we've got an HDMI cable to plug into our TV. Now I'm not going to open either of those because I don't need them for this setup. So the next thing we need to do is connect it up, and I'm going to show you exactly the kinds of things that I see when I'm running the games on this system. So that's the thing that we're going to do next, and then we'll come back and wrap it all up. So here we are at the computer. We're going to connect the PlayStation 1, and first we're going to connect this BitFun-X device. So we're going to plug that into the AV multi-port in the back, just like that. Now I have a video capture card. I'm going to explain this in a second here. So I'm going to plug in HDMI there, and I'm going to plug in my power source, wherever that plugs into this guy, like that. We're going to switch this to the RGB connection, which is done now, and we'll boot that up. Now while it's booting, I'm going to explain some things here. So I have a video capture card connected up to the computer, and let me switch my input here, like that. And I have a pass-through, a video pass-through that goes from the video capture card directly to here. So what we're seeing right now is the first glimpse at what I said, and that is that the game is actually playing right now, as you can see from my video capture card, but my monitor is freaking out saying out of range. So my game, I'll keep flashing back and forth. I can kind of see it here. My monitor is going to hit power saving in a minute. I'm going to plug my controller in. So right now my monitor is saying out of range, as you can see right there. But the game's loading. So I'm actually in the menu for the game right now, and I can cycle through. You can see me cycling through here on the game. So the game is loaded and on, but I have no idea that it's on. This is an example of a monitor that cannot support a resolution that low, and so it doesn't work. Now there is a workaround, and that is I can go like this, I can go like this, and I can go like that, and then I can switch my input. I can go to HDMI 1, and now, like magic, you're going to be able to see this working. But the reason you see it is because I've just done a live feedback of my video capture card. And in fact, even my video capture card is now freaking out. So right now the in-game footage is playing, and even that is too low of a resolution for even my video capture card. So let me swap for this other device that I already showed you guys, and I told you this is the one to get. So I'm gonna unplug that. I'm going to unplug the power, and I'm going to unplug that. So this guy is reserved strictly for my PlayStation 2 because it doesn't work very good with this. Now I can plug this guy into my PC. Now the reason why this guy is so awesome, and I didn't really tell you guys this, but this guy actually takes the RGB signal and it cranks it up to a 720p signal. So I'm going to switch that to 4.3. There we go. So just like that, I now have, and I've got it set to 4.3. So I told you guys it's got a selector switch. I can switch it there to 16.9. See how it stretches the cars? You've probably played this game in 16.9 and that you've stretched all the cars out and you wondered why they looked so funny. That's because you were playing 16.9 when this is actually just a 4.3 game. So now I can press start. This is just the live replay. So now I get the actual game. So again, this is the live screen feedback through my capture card going straight to the monitor. And then I've also got the capture card. So I can go and actually start a game and play a game. Now there is one tiny little hiccup on here. It doesn't always cause me grief, but I will show it to you just so that you know. Now this is a disc-based game, so things gotta load, okay? So I'm gonna say go race, and I've got, now actually before I say go race, Let me show you guys something. Do you see down here where it says developed by Polyphony Digital? If this was not using the actual RGB signal, this would be fuzzy. So some of the other ones, they do upscale. Okay, so I've told you guys there's other boxes out there. I've tried them. I've tried ones that say that they are RGB and that they upscale. They don't take the RGB signal and upscale it. They just don't. If you buy it and look at it, use this as a comparison. If you can't read this text, it is not upscaling the RGB signal. This is upscaling actual RGB. It is the clearest, cleanest signal that you will get on your PlayStation 1, period. Okay, now I haven't played this game a lot. I've only been playing for 2 days. I've just got myself $99 million and a Skyline. That's all I've got so far. So here's something that'll happen. When I go to load the game, these menus are played at a high resolution because not a lot is going on. The actual gameplay screen is a lower resolution, and sometimes my monitor doesn't like to switch to the signal. So what we might find out is that my video capture card will show the signal, which I can see over here. You guys can see it from a video overlay. So there, it's loading into the game, but my monitor is not showing it. And I've had this problem before, and I had to switch this switch here to force my monitor to refresh. And then there we go. So now I'm in the game. I've got my analog stick off. Now my Skyline, it's not very powerful. I've only tuned it to about 850 horsepower, so it's not really easy to win games yet. But there you can see, I've got a live feed of my game. Now it's working really good. The graphics are crisp, they're sharp, they're clean. And this is it. This is the best you're gonna see from retro hardware. Look at that, full 360 and I'm still winning. This is the best you're gonna see of full, proper, old school hardware with an HD output to a monitor where you can actually play. Now, if you don't like the fact, now I've had to actually switch that switch every single time when I go to play on my monitor. I believe that's an issue with the monitor, as you guys saw, because my video capture card actually captured the change in the signal, so it's not the adapter itself. It's my monitor not wanting to switch between those low of resolutions or not noticing that it was a low resolution. So when the resolution changed, my monitor just had a hard time. Flipping that switch made my monitor go, oh yeah, okay, something's changed, and then it displays it. It displays it just fine. This is a 720p signal upscaled from whatever the 240 signal was that probably it had in the first case. It will take all of the signals from the PlayStation 1 and upscale it to always be 720. So support on newer hardware, newer monitors is like 99%. Like I said, I've tried other devices. You saw me try that BitFunX one and it just doesn't work. In fact, it even went so out of scale that even my capture card, which has been working great, still can't display that picture. Now let's go back to the other part of my studio and wrap this all up. Now that we've seen these adapters in action, what do you guys think? Do you think that it's worth it to go the extra couple dollars for this guy, which supports the HD upscaling and supports more of the aftermarket monitors? Have you used any of these products? Let me know. Let me know what you think. Have I missed it? Is there anything here that you wanted to hear about and you haven't been shown? One thing you probably noticed was that this guy hiding over here in the corner, the M Classic's been sitting here. I had some questions around how viable that product was. I'm going to be doing a review of that in a future video, so stay tuned for that. But I needed to unveil this setup first because you need to understand what we're doing before we get to that M Classic to compare kind of what sorts of improvements we can expect with a device such as that. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. We got more videos with retro gaming coming up. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. you'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.